All right, have you been thinking about the NFL draft? Well, at Draft Nation, that's all we think about. 365. If it's a leap year, 366, my friends. Here we go, Draft Nicks. Here we go. Welcome to another edition of the Draft Nation. My name is Brian Anthony Davis, and the man that knows the plan, Joe 412, is here as always. Joe from Draft Nation, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to talking some drafts today. I'm looking forward to talking about receivers, which my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, might be looking at next April. So I'm looking forward to diving into our list with us this afternoon.
Well, then we're going to double dip because I'm going to be listening hard because my favorite team is the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. But we will cover all 32 teams. We will be equal with what they need. And there are some wide receiver hungry teams out there. Besides the Steelers, who do you think is the most wide receiver hungry right now?
Tennessee Titans. They have had a bad rash of injuries. They've been playing guys that are young, that might not have the same level of talent as the top five guys we're going to talk about as part of that. And I think that they're going to try to get some weapons around Cam Ward. Did they do that first overall? No. Did they do that second overall? No. But I think that there are guys here that if they do trade back and someone does make a bold move to get up to grab their spot, I think the Tennessee Titans are one of those teams.
Couple guys on this list I'm very familiar with, some that I need you to school me on. Let's start off with Southern California's Mai Lemon.
Yeah, so Mai Lemon might be my favorite receiver in this draft. I mean, we'll talk about the other guys, and depending on what you're looking for in receivers, some of those other guys might be better fits for different systems. But a Mai Lemon can play for anybody at any time. This guy is lightning quick. If you don't watch those evening games, and I know that USC, the West Coast anti-bias sometimes comes into play where people forget about them. It may not be as popular as they were during the Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart days, but this guy is fast, and he can play as an X. He could play as a Z. He could play in the slot. This guy runs technical routes. He's got everything that a good offensive coordinator is going to want in a receiver, including hands. And this guy, he's not the biggest guy, but he's also not small either. He comes in, we're going to guess he's going to land somewhere around 6 foot tall when he gets to the combine, and about 195 pounds. And that's what you want to see in a quick guy. And in the league, he's likely going to end up playing that flanker, that Z position, or in the slot somewhere. And that is plenty big for that kind of assignment. But I think that ultimately, of this class, he is my number one overall.
That is a very good pick, especially the guy who's next. I think this guy's absolutely fantastic. I've had a chance to look at a lot of Arizona State's games. And when I think about toughness, I look at his wide receiver coach as well. It's Hines Ward, who hopefully will be in the Hall of Fame in the next few years. And let's look at Jordan Tyson.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson's exactly what you want. They've gotten a lot of TV time because of their success. And this is a guy that's like 6'2", almost 210 pounds, runs a 4.5 flat, will likely be sub 4.4, 4.5, 4.4 at the combine when he's done with his training. So I think that'll impress people. But this is a guy that's going to play your typical X position. He's going to be the guy that goes deep. He's a combat catcher. He has this ability, if you watch any of his games or any of his video clips, he's always separated from the defender. There's no one that ever blankets the guy. And I think part of that is his technique. Part of that is he is super explosive. And so his consistent play, he gains that separation, which is so critical in the NFL. I tell people that all the time. It's like the difference between being open in college and open in the pros is night and day. And this is the kind of guy that you're going to be able to depend on to do that. Now, he's a good tracker of the ball. He has really sticky hands. This is a guy that you're going to want to throw the ball to in a combat situation or a back shoulder pass. He's going to come down with those awkward George Pickens balls over the back of his head, or Odell Beckham. That's the kind of guy that you're looking at here. He's a little bit bigger. Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to ding him anywhere is, can he do this consistently at the next level. I think people are going to want to see that. You're right. He's a competitive blocker, and having someone like Hines Ward, in his ear, he's learning to become a better blocker. But the guy's had some medicals over the years, and I think that he could add a little bit of weight to be a better X receiver at the next level. And let's face it, Arizona State doesn't run a very complex route tree. So for me, he's going to have a little bit of that time to learn the game, maybe add some additional muscle and weight to make him effective. But he's a guy that I think is a no miss. I think I'm with you. He's going to be a fun one to watch develop and play.
And one thing to mention about Jordan Tyson is with the injury to his quarterback, Sam Levitt, he has had now Jeff Sims, who's doing a pretty good job, but two different style quarterbacks throwing to him. So there has been some fluctuation for Jordan Tyson. That actually looks good on an NFL resume as well.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about that all the time. You get different balls thrown to you. There are guys like Brett Favre that are going to zing it in there, like a Jeff George, or others that are touch passes, or others that come off the hand differently, like Tua, that is a left-handed passer. And here's a guy that's shown that he can catch. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. He's gonna get it. He's gonna tuck that ball and run with it. And that's what makes him I think he goes number 1 or number 2 off the board, and he'll probably be gone by the middle of first round.
Wow, fantastic. Let's go to Rocky Top, Chris Brazelle 2, the second.
Yeah, so Chris Brazelle, if you haven't watched his games, you can't miss him out there. He's 6'5", and this guy can still move. He can not move just vertically with speed, but this guy can bend. He dekes and dodges, and someone for his size, that's a rarity. Normally, you're just throwing the ball up and letting him go get it. You're looking in the corner of the end zone. It's a flag route. It's a post route. It's something like that, and that's what you're going to find. But Brazelle is a guy that he's just as athletic as he is big, and that's a rarity. And that's why I think he's another first-round talent. I think he goes mid to late first round, maybe in the 15s to 23s, is somewhere in there. But the guy he's bendy, to use use one of my favorite terms. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. It's just, if I say it, you know what it means, and he also gets separation. And sometimes that separation is vertical. When he puts his hands up and he can jump, that's something that's going to, he'll be able to bring down, and I think our, comparison to him is a George Pickens type, where you've got length, you've got speed, he's got hands, may not be the fastest guy on the field, but he's fast enough. And I think that, that combination of talent is going to get him going in the middle of the first round.
All right. That is a great endorsement, especially when you see what a guy like Pickens is doing right now in Dallas. Let's go ahead and look at number 4. I was going to say the Ohio State University, but right now they're calling them the Wide Receiver University, with what a great honor roll when we're looking at Marvin Harrison, Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave, Curtis Samuel, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Michael Thomas, Garrett Wilson. There are so many to talk about. I might have missed one or two in there, but Carnell Tate is a guy that is playing opposite a superstar in Jeremiah Smith, and Carnell Tate is an alpha dog as well.
Yeah, so I don't talk about the team from the South all that much, and your listing of them hurts. Like, I felt a twinge in my neck, but the one that I will admit that you missed was Santonio Holmes, and I'll say that only because I'm a bit of a homer there. I was cheering for him back in the day, so I'll let that happen. I'll let that slide today.
Chris Carter, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Tate is a guy, to be honest with you, he's a guy that if you're looking for a guy to make a big play, you used Hines Ward a little earlier. He's your Hines Ward. I don't mean he's going to make a big play like Jeremiah Smith is going to make, or like somebody that's going to go down the field and get you a 70-yard pass. He's the guy that's going to go out there and the ball hits his hands, it sticks. You need 8 yards, you get you 10. He's a guy that is going to go in the first round because you're right. He is an alpha dog. He's 6'3", he's almost 200 pounds. He's got a little bit of weight to put on when he gets to the league, but he's more of a possession guy, but he's the right possession guy. And if you're looking for someone to come in and do that, to be, that guy that you need on your team that's going to run the right routes, break them off the right time, move the chains, not drop passes, and then on occasion break one, and you're like, wait, I didn't know he was that fast. Or I didn't know he was strong enough to throw off a linebacker. Carnell Tate's your guy. He's got a great, and the kid's, character for days. People love his story. If you haven't looked at it, you should go ahead and check it out. But Carnell Tate is one of my favorite, all kidding aside about that team from the South, he's one of my favorite prospects here in 2026 to watch, because every time you turn on the tape, it's hard to say anything bad about him, right? I mean, that's the one piece that is missing from his resume. I mean, yeah, he's not as fast as you want him to be, but when you watch him, you're like, yeah, he's pretty fast. He's fast enough, right? And that's about it. And I think if he adds a little bit of muscle, he will definitely be the quintessential, prototypical possession receiver that you see that ends up in a Pro Bowl one day.
Would you say this, as we don't want to be homers here, but could you see this guy in the black and gold easily?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Steelers may want someone that looks more like Antonio Brown than looks like George Pickens, right? They've got, it's something that I've talked about at length over the course of the free agency and, trading, is that, DK Metcalf is an X receiver. George Pickens is an X receiver. They have their X. And what I mean by X is it's a split end, to use old vernacular. This is a guy that's going to stretch the field. This is a guy that's going to go up and get you combat catches. They'll be able to come over the field, take the hit, still make the catch. They're a different receiver, almost a different position than a Z receiver or a slot receiver, in the sense that slots are more like Jordan Addison, where you're going to see a guy that has enough size, but it's going to rely on speed, hands, and quickness, and shiftiness, and twitchiness. And I think that the Steelers are missing twitchiness and explosiveness right now. DK has had his fair share of explosive plays, but I think that Tate, while he looks good on paper, he might not be the guy the Steelers are looking for. But if they took him, I think that you would probably be pretty happy with his performance in year one and beyond.
That sounds good. Now let's learn a little bit about Chris Bell from Louisville. We'll continue to go south of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so, Chris Bell, for me, there are other receivers that could have been sitting here at number 5, but I have a tendency to scout the ACC a lot, and it's hard to miss this guy. He is so important to the Louisville offense, and you just see him stand out in every game. Now, he got hurt towards the end of the season, and that's when Louisville was tapering off. They were in the hunt for the ACC championship for a long time, and the last 3, maybe 4 games, that last month, really did them in. But Chris Bell is a guy that he's 6'2", he's 220 pounds. He's in a senior season, so he's had experience. He does everything that you're going to want to see him do. He's played plenty of time, and so you don't have to worry about that. It's him stepping in, he's going to be seasoned. But this dude, if you see him without his pads on, he looks like a linebacker. 220 pounds at his size, he looks like he can go out and that's a defensive player. And all of a sudden you see him line up at wideout, and he's got 4.4 speed. The guy is just going to blow by people because he doesn't look like he's going to do that, and yet he does. And so, this guy, I think is going to be a surprise. I think he's going to really show out at the NFL Combine, and people are going to say, yeah, he is a first-round talent, and maybe he is. Yeah, he's playing at a smaller school. He's not as sexy as a guy coming out of Ohio State or Alabama or USC. But when you line him up and you put him on the field for an NFL Combine, or if you put him on one of those teams, I think that that's something that you'd be surprised about. This guy can accelerate. He's got size. He's going to get you yards after the catch. He's got definitely has the ability to make plays down the field for you. So I think he's underrated. And so I slid him in at number 5 because I wanted to talk about him today. But there are some other guys that we could talk about too if you wanted to.
And we absolutely will going forward, because this is going to be your hub for the NFL draft. It's going to be happening in Pittsburgh. It seems like it's a long way away, but my gosh, less than around 5 months to go, and it's going to be heating up very soon. We're going to have all this information, and it's all going to be here on Draft Nation. And I've got to tell you, Joe, for me, this will help me enjoy the draft so much more. Any final thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple of shows where we could talk offensive line and tight ends. I think that's going to be fun. Those are the positions that people know the least about, and so we can do a little bit of education for this, because everybody is wondering why someone's arms are too short. It doesn't make sense, or why someone is compact and why that's important in interior versus out on the edges and things like that. So I really, really enjoyed talking about them. It's not as sexy as quarterbacks, of course, but there's going to be a lot of OTs and offensive linemen taken in the first 2 rounds next year. So teams that are hungry for that, look out for our next couple of podcasts here, and we'll cover that for you in depth.
Absolutely. Wherever you find your favorite sports podcast, whether it be on video or download your favorite shows, make sure you check us out. Remember, Draft Nation may be off the air, but we are always on the clock for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon.